Welcome back to the Mars Venus Coaching Podcast, where we explore what it really takes to build a thriving coaching practice. Today, we're going to talk about something a lot of people wonder about. Can I really be a business coach if I've never run my own business? And the answer might surprise you, because it is an absolutely yes, you can. Now, before we dive into that, I would love to thank all of you who have already subscribed and supported this channel. If you're new here and you get value from our conversations, then please do us a favor and click the subscribe button just down below. And it really helps us. It really means a lot to us. It helps us spread this message with many coaches around the world. Now, here's a little bit for context first. Not every great business coach has been a business owner. In fact, research shows that business coaches come from all kinds of different backgrounds: leadership, HR, consulting, education, and even personal development. The common thread is not the P&L they've managed, but the people skills, the strategic thinking, and the facilitation skills they bring. So if you're wondering, if you're thinking, I've never owned my business, so how can I coach one? Then pay attention, because we're exploring why that's a myth and what makes you a successful business coach. And for that, we have Richard Bernstein, the CEO of Mars Venus Coaching, with us today. Thank you, Richard, for joining us. Thank you for your time. You have been a business coach for well over 2 decades. Why is that a myth that you have to have run your own business in order to coach a business?
It's been around for a long time, and it kind of makes logical sense, though, that somebody would say, if I haven't run a business, how am I going to coach somebody else in their business? So it just seems to be a logical myth that people believe in their mind, and we have converted a lot of them that have never owned a business into very, very successful business coaches, because they really have to look at the business not from a business owner's standpoint. They have to look at it from an outside perspective, and there are certain parts of the business that make it thrive, and you can actually teach those skills without ever owning a business yourself. But you also have to understand that when you are a business coach, you do own a business. You own a business coaching business. So you actually are in business yourself as well. So that's a little bit of the disconnect that people have. You are running a business. You are a business owner, even though you don't think you are. I'm just a business coach.
So in that sense, like not having owned a business before, becoming a business coach, running your own business, going through the certification of, through the training of becoming a business coach helps you as a previous non-owner to become an owner.
Become an owner yourself. That's absolutely true. And I think it's important to understand that, again, we're not getting into the minutia of the business. We're looking at it from an outside perspective. We actually teach our coaches how to do that, because frankly, there's only 3 challenges that business owners have: time, team, and money. Those are the only 3 challenges. And if you can learn those 3 skills, how do I help them manage their time better? How do I help them manage their team better, their productivity, their leadership, their communication? That can all be taught. And then when it comes to money, there's 5 principles of where money comes from. So we teach them literally how to go through lead generation, conversion rate, average dollar, number of transaction, and margin. Those are the 5 numbers and matrix that we focus on as business coaches. Has nothing to do with the business itself, the running of that business day to day.
Right.
It's very interesting. I get this all the time. I had an auto mechanic that I was coaching. And every time I would walk into his shop, he would say to me, "What do you know about fixing cars?" And I would say, "Raymond, I don't know anything about fixing cars. I don't need to know anything about fixing cars. And you can't run that business underneath a car. You got to get out from under the car in order to run a business." So the running of the business is very different than the doing of the business. And that can be taught. Those skills around time management, around leadership, and around money can absolutely be taught. In fact, it can be a negative if you've owned a business before, because you're coming into that with a preconceived notion of how you ran your business. So sometimes we have to unwind from the perspective that you had as a business owner and get you to take that outside perspective and look at their time, their team, and their money, and assess those 3. We actually provide assessments for those 3 areas of their business. So we know what to focus on, and we're not going in saying, well, I know how to run this business. I don't know anything about fixing cars, but I definitely know how to do the marketing and get more leads coming in. We teach all of those skills at Mars Venus.
Maybe it's the confusion lies in the description, the job description, right? Maybe people think that as a business coach, you need to run someone's business or you need to fix someone's business.
Well, like I said, we're going to go in and evaluate what are the biggest challenges that they have. We're going to break those challenges apart. So we do an assessment on their time, on their team, on their productivity, on their, cash flow, things like that. And once you learn those skills, then you can go in and provide them for a business owner. So you're not telling them what to do. You're saying, okay, if our challenge is marketing, what are our options? We actually teach you how to go through a checklist of what are the options that that business owner can do. And then we don't select it. I don't know anything about, like I said, the car business or the lawyering business. I used to get a lot of lawyers. What do you know about being a lawyer? What does that have to do with running a law firm? Running a law firm is not just about being a lawyer and get in front of a judge. It's about how you do your marketing, how you do your sales, finance, time management, leadership skills. None of that has to do with the day-to-day operations of the business.
But surely it would help if you had already run a successful business.
No, like I said, then you're coming in with preconceived notions of what they should or shouldn't do. That's one thing I never do as a coach, is tell a business owner what they should or shouldn't do. My question is, what should or shouldn't you do? Not telling them what to do. And they know what they could do more. They just don't have the time to do it, or they haven't broken it into steps. I can't tell you how many times as a business owner that over the weekend I would read a book on marketing, let's say. And I go, that's a great idea. Monday morning, I'm going to implement that. Do you think I implemented it Monday morning? No. I walked in the business and did what I always did. I would go to accounting and look for orders. I'd go to the sales team and rah, everybody. I just did what I normally did. And by Thursday, I would remember, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to do that. Most business owners are stuck in a rat race. They're literally running, chasing their tail, and that's all they do. And so that we are creatures of habit. And so the way we run the business is habitual. And if I come into your business and say, what are our other options? What else could we do? Could we grow horizontally? Could we grow vertically? These are all things that we teach. And we wake the business owner up to what are the other opportunities that they could do to grow the business. Most of the time, however, it's around time and team. They want more productivity for the team. So therefore, they have to be a better leader. Being a better leader has nothing to do with running the business. I always tell people, whatever business you're in, you're not really in that business. You're in the people business, delivering that. So to me, that's a real skill, is learning how to be a better leader, a better communicator, a better resource for your employees. That's what business coaching is all about.
So what are real skills, since we talk about real skills, that makes someone a good business coach?
I think it's being a really good listener of what's really going on underneath the challenges that they have, because they might say the challenge is marketing, but it's not really marketing. It's leading the marketing team, something like that. We have to learn to be an empathetic, really good listener from the outside perspective. What's really going on in that business, and how do we really not solve it, but grow on it, build on it? That's what's important.
So you got to be a good listener. What else is really important?
I think that you have to know a little bit of math, which we teach in our classes. So to really understand a P&L, a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, an income statement, financial statements, just to be able to analyze what's really going on in the business. We do give our business coaches great assessment tools to be able to uncover what's going on. So to me, that's critical. The other one is being observant, really observant, because remember, even as a business coach, you are a consumer. So if you were to walk in that business, what would you see? So to me, observance is a really important skill to learn, to look around and see what is the communication between the leadership and the rest of the employees. What is really going on in marketing if you look at their marketing material? Is there a call to action? Are there things that really you can see clearly as a consumer? I've walked into many businesses and said, you know what? The first thing you need to do is clean this place up. Maybe just vacuum the floors, because I'm observant of what do I see if I walked into that business.
And are there any differences between life coaches and business coaches? Would you say that certain characteristics would be more suitable for a business coach, would be more suitable for a life coach?
on one hand, yes, I think it's something that what is more your passion? I happen to like the art of business. I think that providing value for somebody and getting paid for that, if I like that more than helping somebody in their relationship, helping them, with their self-esteem or their confidence or, how they're going through the dating process. Some people just aren't interested in that. So to me, it's more where your passion lies. But I will tell you one thing, as a business coach, I coach their life as well. That's why at Mars Venus, you must be a life coach in order to become a business coach, because a lot of business coaching is around their life. If they're struggling in leadership in the business, they're probably struggling with communication at home, right? There's a correlation. The business is a reflection of that owner. So like I said, being observant and connecting their life with the business, because there has to be some sort of synergy between how they are in life and how they are in their business.
Okay, let's talk about the benefits and the disadvantages of having run your own business.
Yep.
On disadvantages, how to get around the disadvantages.
Well, like I said earlier, if you owned a business, then you have a little bit of a preconceived notion of what you did in your business. So that can be a detriment to how you see your client's business. So to me, what you really have to do if you've had a business, and I have had a business for many years, is I have to disconnect from what I did there. You know what, and not look at, because I had a very unique business where we sold chewing gum into stores. So the way in which we did that has nothing to do with my auto mechanic, how he's going to get clients. You know what I mean? So they're not related at all. So I think those that have had businesses prior have to learn to disconnect from what worked for them might not work for your client. So that's a really important one, making sure that you don't bring your preconceived notions into those coaching sessions, into your client's business. That's probably the biggest disadvantage, is doing that, because like I said, what worked for us might not work for that client. We did a lot of telemarketing before we'd go out to the store. So I had 175 guys on the phone, literally making appointments and then running out to sell our product into the store. That's not going to help a business owner like my auto mechanic. That's not going to help a restaurant. That's not going to help a small business owner. So I have to learn to disconnect what worked for me, that what's going to work for them. Because like I said, I don't go in and go, you should do this, ever. I go, what are our options? What would be the first thing we could do? What would be the second thing? Why do you think that's important? What we're doing is getting our business owners to think, because they're not thinking. They're in a habitual, vicious cycle of trying to keep the business alive. And so we can break them from that rat race, get them to think.
And what benefit would a Mars Venus coaching business certification give a business coach who has been coaching business owners for some time?
Well, one thing, and this is our foundation of everything that we do at Mars Venus, is if I'm going to go in and coach a business owner, let's say on leadership, leading a man is very different than leading a woman. And so they don't know that. They just lead everybody the same way. And typically they don't do it well. So we not only teach leadership in general, we're going to teach leadership sitting on a foundation of gender intelligence. Same with marketing, same with sales, same with your delivery, how you deliver your product or service, same with customer service. Men and women are very different how they handle a problem with a company. So that's a foundational benefit of Mars Venus coaching as opposed to any other school out there. They're not going to teach that skill. We teach all the skills you're going to get from another coaching school, but we add gender intelligence to it.
And you spoke about an alignment tool a couple of minutes before. Do you want to, what is that? What is that exactly?
First of all, anytime you're in conflict, it's because your head wants one thing and your heart wants something different. That's by definition conflict. What we want to do before we get into the helping the business owner is we want to do an alignment. What do they really want in their head and what do they really want in their heart? And we want to align those so that now they clearly know what do they really want. Now we can work on their 90-day plan. We can work on building the business. See, the other real advantage of being a business coach is you can charge a lot more than you do as a life coach. Most life coaches charge $400 to $500 to $600 a month. Most business coaches are $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 a month. So that's a really big advantage. You don't need as many clients. And we use the same process we do in life coaching to get clients in business coaching. Is we put on a workshop. We build our credibility through delivering a workshop to business owners. The last workshop I did, and I couldn't do any more, is I did what's called a lunch and learn, where I bought a whole bunch of pizza, I bought a bunch of sodas, I took flyers and walked up and down the Mars Venus building and handed flyers to everybody to come down tomorrow at noon for a lunch and learn. I present a really powerful workshop for them. And then I say, you know what? Now that I showed you these numbers of how to grow your business, now I can come into your business and extract your real numbers and put them in there. It is so much easier to convert a business owner. Not to mention, they don't pay for coaching out of their pocket. They pay out of the business. So that makes a real advantage. I don't know if I want to invest money into my relationship with my wife, but I definitely want to invest money with a coach in my business. That's a huge advantage. So it's actually a lot easier. Not to mention, you see the growth. You're measuring every week the growth, whether it's in productivity, whether it's in time management, whether it's in making more money, and that stays consistent. It's not like in life coach where they could have a good week and then suddenly they get in a fight with their partner and everything goes downhill. That doesn't happen in business coaching.
So that workshop idea, is that how a new coach who hasn't run his own business or her own business would get credibility with business clients?
100%. And we practice that in training. We teach them how to deliver a really powerful workshop that business owners go, wow, I should be doing that in my business. We don't tell them they should. We show them what they could do and they go, I should be doing that. So they conduct a workshop, because when you do that, not only you build credibility, but you build confidence. And that's the one thing the business owners are looking for. Because one thing I will tell you, and I don't admit this a lot, but business ownership is the loneliest job in the world, owning a business. So just having you to talk to is a real advantage for a business owner. They can't talk to their employees that they're in trouble. They can't talk to their partner. They have nobody to talk to. So having you as a business coach, many times, that's all they want, is a confidant, a sounding board, somebody they can rely on and talk to about all the challenges going on in the business.
Yeah, but you need to earn the trust first before.
That's
right?
Sure. And usually within the first 3-4 sessions, asking them, how is your life? Tell me about your relationship. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your health. Because if you don't feel well, your business is going to suffer. So we kind of move it into a personal relationship along with growing the business.
Okay. My final question for you today is, for someone watching this right now and thinking, I've never had my business, but I'd love to coach business owners. What would you tell them? Like, is there a step-by-step process? What step 1, step 2?
Step 1, I would say, honestly, reach out and see if it's right for you. We'll do a little interview. You can talk to me, you can talk to somebody on my team, and really see if it's a passion that you can articulate yourself well enough that a business coach will buy into you. A client would buy into who you are. Because, and I've said this before, just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you're going to be successful at it. Success comes from one thing and one thing only: how you articulate what you do. Mm-hmm. And that's something we spend a lot of time doing at Mars Venus, is teaching you how to articulate what is business coaching. Because a lot don't know. There's a difference between business coaching and consulting. There's a difference between business coaching and mentoring. So you really have to learn to articulate what is business coaching. How do we bring that client clarity? How do we craft a plan with them? How do we hold them accountable to implementing the plan and measuring the improvement? That's what business coaching is.
So the first step is to come and have a chat to Mars.
Come and have a chat with us. Can't hurt. That's all we want to do. Just click the link below, book a call, and see if it's right for you. You owe that to yourself to see if it's right for you. You might already be a life coach going, I'd like to make more money. I think I can articulate myself well. And if I can learn business coaching, even though I've never had one, then I'll be successful at that. Mm-hmm. We have an interview process to see if it's right for you.
And for a business coach who's already practicing, what would you?
They need gender intelligence. That's what I would tell that coach. If you're not two things. One, it really does help business owners. But two, it separates you from all the other business coaches out there. When I tell people, I'm not just a business coach, I'm a gender intelligent business coach, they go, wait, what? What is that? And that's exactly what I want them to do, because then I can talk about leadership with men and women is different. Marketing is different with men and women. Delivering your product, customer service, every part of that business is different for men and women. And so it not only gives you that unique selling proposition that you need to be successful in business. Everybody needs a USP, a unique selling proposition. What is yours if you're already a business coach? That's why you need us.
Okay, Rich, let's summarize. There was a lot to unpack, but maybe let's summarize.
Sorry, I have a
one
lot.
More time. That's okay. Summarize one more time why it is a myth that you have to have run your own business before you can be a business coach.
Let me just say something about that also. It's a myth that I have to have an amazing relationship to be a relationship coach. It's the same myth. A lot of people have said that to me is I have to have an amazing relationship in order to help people in their relationship. No, you don't. What you really have to do is know what relationships are all about. Know how to make them work. Doesn't mean every day is amazing with my wife. I could be in the middle of a knockdown, drag out fight with her. The relationship is not going well, and still coach my clients on their relationship. It's the same thing in business coaching. You don't need to have a business to understand the parts of the business and how to work on them with the business owner, because you're not going to have all the answers. You're going to have all the questions. And there's a big difference there.
I love that, because what you're saying here, it's not about what businesses you've owned or you've run, but it's about people. It's about understanding the people, being able to connect to the people, understanding the questions, holding the space, having an ear, and then obviously having a structure behind all that allows business owners to kind of center again, to get out of the rat race that you said, and focus again on the things that are important to move forward, right?
And that's funny you say that, because as a business coach, and I've heard this for 20 years, the secret to successful business is focus. That's not true. The secret of success in business is focusing on the right things in the business. And most business owners don't.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Rich. And if you'd like to learn how to coach business owners using a proven system, even if you've never run your own business, you can book a free clarity call with our team. You'll find the link in the description below. And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.